Greetings, everybody. Just Romero here. Hope everybody's having a good 4th of July. So, for this final video, discussing George Marsden's book, The Outrageous Idea of Christian Scholarship. I just want to say how I thought it was profoundly insightful and refreshing of a book to incorporate into this class. I like to go back to last week's s- um, lecture between Dr. Roger Schultz and Dr. Samuel Smith on the interpretive trends in history and how they discussed the way in which history has been conducted and analyzed, researched, conveyed, taught within academia, specifically secular academia, with secular atheism, which has taken kind of a strong hold within universities and colleges in America. And I thought that the insight that Dr. Samuel Smith brought to that lecture was pretty right on, and it plays a lot into, or contributed a lot into, what George Marsden wrote with regard to his book, The Outrageous Ideas of Christian Scholarship. So I actually found a few other reviews that I thought would be interesting, other than just my own opinion. Uh, with regard to that. One was from James L. Heft from the Journal of Law and Religion from 2001, in which he reviewed not just that book, The Outrageous Idea of Christian Scholarship from Marsden, but as well as his earlier works of The Soul of the American University, from Protestant establishment to establishment belief, as well as the secularization of the academy. Um, so I believe the outrageous idea of Christian scholarship was a continuation, or an addition afterwards of the earlier text. But in this, uh, Heft does a remarkable job of breaking down what Marsden argues as the basically the outright denigration, the assault on Christian beliefs within academia, universities, colleges, and not just Christianity, but any kind of really religious belief that doesn't, contribute to, or um, toe the line with secularism, humanism, if you will, something for which both Dr. Schultz and Dr. Smith talked about in last week's lecture, The Interpretive Trends of History. Another review that I thought was really well done was from Lonnie D. Cleaver, in detailing it. I thought it was really, really the book review, the review of this of Marsden's book was really actually really really well done. Um, but in this, Cleaver makes it very clear that Marsden was not specifically emphasizing the Christian faith, but rather just religious faith, or faith in general. Now, the Christian faith is one of the most profound, yes, and it has historical, obviously, foundations in the beginning of the American Republic, with and prior to that with European Christians fleeing Europe and immigrating to the United States, such as the Puritans, the Quakers, and many other Christian groups. And so, in this, he talks about how Marsden warns his readers early on that he is not seeking to reestablish the liberal Protestant ideals that dominate higher education at the sum of the century. He intends to argue for the legitimacy of religious perspectives in academia without resort to dogmatism or heavy-handed moralism. Nor is he arguing that the Christian faith alone belongs in American university. The title of the book is notwithstanding, though he deals only with Christian scholarship, he intends for his proposal to apply mutual mutandis to all religions. Thus, in his carefully guarded moments, he speaks of faith-informed perspectives. So that's what Lonnie Cleaver points out. And so I think it's important to understand that Marsden wasn't necessarily, trying to argue for a Christian perspective, more rather that a Christian faith, belief, inclusion, as well as just faith in general, be included and allowed to have an opinion, a position, and not just allowed to have it, but have a legitimate position and to be taken credibly, which I thought was pretty right on. Uh, we do live in a constitutional republic. We live in a republic that respects the boundaries between governance and faith. Not that faith cannot have a place, and it should have a place within governance. But as I think I brought up in prior weeks, Samuel Davies, who was a Presbyterian who helped form the university that became Princeton in New Jersey. He was one of the most influential early founding fathers, Great Awakening era preachers of Presbyterian background from Virginia, who opposed the creation of the Virginia of the Anglican Church having a state church. And so I think it's important to understand that even though as we as Christians we want to be incorporated, we also cannot enforce our views on everybody, but rather, I think the importance that Marsden points out is that our beliefs are included. And if we're really about learning, then it's good to include other perspectives. Not that we necessarily agree with them, but that we can hear them out, that we can give equal position of speaking about these things. And in turn, we use, as from our Christian perspective, our critical thinking and our biblical worldview, if you will, to discern the reality and the truth to such matters. Finally, the last one I wanted to focus on was a review from Charles T. Matthews, who spoke a great deal about this and the effect of the academic vocation. And he talks about, can Christians pursue their intellectual life with a contemporary academia, or must such a local identity suppress or oppose the life of the minded necessary? Weisenkopf else Baruch is the grammar of the phrase Christian academic deceptive. Can Christian, quote unquote, Christian simply modify academic? And so I think he talks about this a little bit in detail as is the goal of the Christian to then transform academia to our perspectives, to our worldview, or as George Marsden argues in his book, to be respected mutually and allowed to have equal footing, equal position in voice, in being able to hold views and be respected for those views. So I thought it was a great book, this that Marsden wrote. I think it's insightful, and I think there's a lot of valuable things that we can take from it, glean from it, and use to grow. Thank you, Justin Merle. Bye.